Hi, I'm Noreen.
And I'm Phil.
And this is Two Adults and a Baby. We named the podcast Two Adults and a Baby because, well, we have a little baby in the background and he may screech every now and then or say something, and that way you'll know who he is. And I apologize ahead of time. I have a bit of a cold. So what perfect time to start a new podcast.
And I'm Phil. And yeah, you've probably already heard our child in the background. And we're going to be in this podcast reviewing and talking about different 80s movies because that's our favorite type of movies.
And today's movie, dun, 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 is Desperately Seeking Susan.
Yes, it's a movie from the early 80s starring Madonna and Aidan Quinn and is it Patricia Arquette?
Yeah.
Rosanna Arquette.
Rosanna
Arquette.
Yes.
Okay, and very briefly, I'm going to recap it. This podcast is more for people who have already seen it and just want to talk about it.
Yeah,
and
so spoiler alert, we may share the ending.
Yeah, so we're going to talk about details of the movie.
Excuse me for a second, but you can keep talking.
Spoiler alert. So while we check on the baby, I'm going to sum it up. The movie, it was made in the early 80s, takes place in the early 80s, and is about the central character is played by Rosanna Arquette. Her name is Roberta. She's a housewife in Fort Lee, New Jersey, and she's not very satisfied with her life. She's married to a man named Gary who owns a business selling hot tubs, but she's not very happy. We just get the idea she's not very satisfied with her domestic life.
We also get the idea that Gary's having an affair.
Yeah, that things are not really that well. Gary, I mean, he's not like a super villain, but at the same time, it
just seems like they're growing apart.
They're growing apart. They kind of portray him in kind of like a sleazy way. I mean, not like a criminal, but he's not shown in he's not framed in like a very positive light.
It does show that he loves or kind of is obsessed with making money, which is sometimes the theme in that time period is like the yuppie life versus the artsy life. And you have Roberta, who I think is getting a little bit bored of the suburban life.
Right. Yeah. And so being that Fort Lee, if any of you are from New York City, you will know that Fort Lee is right across the George Washington Bridge from New York City. So you can get there in a few minutes. So she sees a personal ad in her local newspaper for a couple that are meeting they meet every once in a while in New York City. And so she actually is curious about it. She follows the ad, and through a bunch of other ways, she ends up taking the identity of a woman named Susan.
By the way, it's almost time for the baby's nap time, so that's kind of why he's crying. We're not bad parents.
Yeah, and we just gave him a wafer, so he should be quiet now. Maybe kind of quiet. So anyway, she takes on the identity of this woman named Susan and gets caught up in her life. They trade places. So why don't Noreen, you take it from there?
These baby wafers are actually pretty good.
Introduce the story.
Well, for me, I have to say what I loved about the movie is, that's a common theme, the yuppie versus the artsy life. Now, I love home decoration. I'm obsessed with it. Phil knows this about me. I love decorating. So I also love looking at like the 80s time period decor, just how the house is decorated. Roberta and Gary's house, it's very beautiful. You do have like that traditional wallpaper. How the tubs were back then. I just love looking at that stuff. And then also you get a glimpse of the city life, and I just think that was just very beautifully done in the movie. And, Madonna, she's in the movie, she's awesome. And, Roberta, that character was really great too. And just like seeing the friendship that eventually develops between the two of them, like at the end, even though that's not really the theme of the movie, but it's more just about them kind of finding out about each other and each other's lives. And yeah, it's just a really great movie.
Yeah, so it's a real time capsule because a lot of the movie was actually filmed in New Jersey and New York City, and you can actually go online on IMDb and you can actually find out where these places are and visit them. But you're actually like there's a nightclub scene, and that's actually one of the nightclubs where Madonna would go to. And she actually put some people in the movie that were from the local music scene, the punk scene of New York at that time.
Just as a side note, we had attended one of her concerts, like, what was it, like last year? And it was actually when I was pregnant. And I'm telling you, I almost didn't go because I was very pregnant around that time. But I am so glad that I went because she is an excellent performer. Yeah. Yeah,
and she actually talks about that time of her life because Madonna was like a figure in that era that you're watching in Desperately Seeking Susan. So yeah, it's a real time capsule. John Turturro is also in it. He plays the Magic Club owner.
And I just love the romance between Des, Aidan Quinn's character, and Roberta. It's just, yeah, it's really great. They just kind of like hit it off, and you can tell that, you know, she's meant to be with him. Yeah.
Yeah.
So for me, I just love the romance part of it too.
Yeah, it's a very spontaneous romance. So there's this whole background plot involving Atlantic City and Madonna and this earrings and
oh yeah, there was like I think they stole some like famous earrings and Nefertiti.
Yeah.
And then I think that one criminal was trying to get it back, and so they're kind of like running away from him throughout the movie too. So that's kind of going around. That's happening in the background as well.
Yeah, there's this whole background plot, but it's not really relevant enough, I think, to really go into it. But anyway, it ends up where like we said, they trade places, and so Roberta is living the life of Madonna, who's like this rebel, wild child kind of character.
And then she meets Des and falls in love with him. So it turns out she actually, you know, the inadvertent like trade, how they traded places. Roberta is actually much happier in this new life than she was with Gary in her suburban life.
Yeah, she just kind of stumbles on to this completely different life in a completely different place, even though it's close in terms of distance over the bridge.
We're originally from that area, so we know. Yeah,
we're originally from that area. So and I actually had a cousin who lived in Fort Lee, but it's completely different, and she becomes accustomed to it. Even in that short time, she gets a job working as a magician's assistant.
Yeah, they even show her in the beginning looking at the ads for jobs, and she just couldn't find what she was looking for. So, excuse me. So then, you know, everything just kind of falls into place for her. At the end, she gets a job, she has a new boyfriend, and she's much happier.
Yeah, and along the way, it's so many things happen. It's like we can't even say, like, put them all into this video, but there's just chasing, and she loses her memory at one point.
Yeah. And you know, me and Phil, we're just obsessed with the 80s. We love 80s movies, and we do feel like, you know, there are some that are a little bit more known, right, than others. Like, of course, everybody knows who what the Breakfast Club is, but I'm not sure if everyone has heard of Desperately Seeking Susan, and I think it's a great movie if you haven't seen it.
Yeah, this one is not really, I think, in like the most like people talk about the 80s, especially with Stranger Things, but I don't think Desperately Seeking Susan is up there with The Breakfast Club or Back to the Future or E.T.
Right, and not just the movie, the soundtrack is pretty good too. So
yeah, so much classic soundtrack. Have Get Into the Groove. Actually,
yeah, that's one of my favorite Madonna songs.
Yeah,
well, one of them.
Yeah.
So yeah, if you haven't already, check out Desperately Seeking Susan and tune into our podcast next time for more really great movie reviews and a baby screeching in the background.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.